Hello and grüß Gott. On this video we're going to be changing out the spark plugs and the spark plug wires on our 2001 Toyota Camry. And this got the V6 3-liter engine in it. And we're going to use the NGK spark plugs. And these are the iridium type and they're part number BKR6EIX-11. And of course we've purchased 6 of those. I have some anti-seize compound, throttle body gasket. I have the spark plug wires. So we'll give you all these part numbers that we need or that you need to do the job in the descriptor. These are actually part number 19037-20011. And you'll see there's only 3 spark plug wires, and that's because this type of engine uses a shared spark where on every 360 degrees there's a spark that's generated. Even if it's on like the exhaust stroke, it generates a spark because it doesn't do anything. It's only on the compression stroke where the spark's important. So it's a special kind of thing to make things more simple. So anyway, that's all that comes in for these spark plug wires. And if there's anything else we need, we'll mention it as we go along. Also, you'll want to have a small torque wrench, some safety glasses. I have some anti-seize compound, and if you do lubricate the threads, the torque settings will be lower, and so that's very important to note so you don't end up over torquing your spark plugs and damaging them. And theoretically, you're supposed to be able to change all 6 spark plugs without having to pull the intake area off, but from my looking at the vehicle, I see no way to do that, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to pull it apart. Hence the reason for the throttle body gasket. Also, I have a very special spark plug socket here that it's a 16 millimeter socket, and it's made with a very thin wall, so it'll go down deep into the holes without having any obstructions. And it actually holds the plug inside so that when you unscrew the old plug and you pull it up, it should come with it without dropping or falling. And same thing with the new plugs. They should be able to go in. When you get them threaded in very carefully by hand, you'll be able to pull this up and off and then torque them to the proper torque settings. So we're gonna get some safety glasses and we're gonna get started here in just a minute. So the first thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna take out these ignition coils. Now this is a wasted spark engine. What that means is there's an electrical signal coming in here that fires these ignition coils. It fires this plug down here, but it also simultaneously fires another plug that's located on the other side of the engine. Now that particular cylinder is 360 degrees out of phase with this one. In other words, when this one's on the compression stroke, the other one's on its exhaust stroke, such that the spark is called wasted because it doesn't do anything when it's on the exhaust stroke. It only works when it's on the compression, and then right before top dead center, it ignites. So we're gonna take these coils out, but first we're gonna remove this cover. So I'm gonna take the cover off and we'll see what's underneath. To remove this cover, it has 2 screws in it, so you're gonna use a hexagonal stick wrench, or in other words, a metric Allen wrench, 5 millimeters to be exact. And you're going to take out these 2 screws. Now they're captive, so they shouldn't fall out of the cover, although the piece that goes underneath, the PIM nut, it sometimes wants to come out. So you have to be careful and watch out for that. So I'll take the cover off and then we'll come back. Okay, you're going to pull off these spark plug wires, and to do that, you're going to have to take a screwdriver and just carefully go underneath the tab here and pull it so you can pull this up. And then to get these connectors loose, you just push down on the tab and pull it back. And I would really recommend, if you can, to replace these because they're old and they're not very expensive. So it's always a good idea to kind of replace them. Then to pull out the coil pack, you take out the 10 millimeter bolt that goes in there, and it should just pull straight up. And you want to look to make sure there's no oil in it, which is good. That would mean that the rocker cover was leaking in here. So this one's good. So we're going to pull all those out, and then we're going to start pulling out the plugs. Okay, we're going to start pulling the plugs using a 16 millimeter special spark plug socket. I'll show you that here in a second. And you're going to turn left to loosen, in other words, counterclockwise. And this particular socket captures a spark plug. So we're just going to turn it until it comes completely loose. And we want to check the color of the plug. Should be a nice tan color. That's actually not bad at all. It's dual electrode. Looks like it hadn't been replaced in forever. And the kind of spark plug socket is like this. And 16 millimeter has an insert inside so that the spark plug stays in and won't just fall out. So when you put the new ones in, you want to make sure they don't fall in there because it'll damage the electrodes. So I'm going to get the plugs out, and then we're going to see what we're going to do next. All right, so here's one of my old plugs. It's a NGK BKR 6EK PB11, and it's a dual electrode, as you'll see. Now, from what I understand, this older type plug was dual electrode because on a wasted spark system, it would wear out the electrodes quickly. But this new plug I'm going to use is a single electrode. It's an NGK BKR 6EIX-11. Now, on the NGK site, it says this is actually a good plug to use. I'll show you. It's a single electrode, but it's an iridium plug, so it's not supposed to have wear due to wasted spark. So I'm going to put some anti-seize compound on here, which, by the way, is not recommended. I'm doing it because that's the way I prefer to do it. And then I'm going to install the spark plug, and then the torque value is listed on the back of the box. And also on the back of the box, it warns you not to touch the gap at all, to leave that alone. And it says you should use an M14 socket, and after it barely touches, you should turn it 1/2 to 2/3 of a turn. So I'm actually using a 16 millimeter socket. I don't know why it fits almost perfectly, but I've got to go figure that out, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm ready to reinstall my spark plug, so here's what I've got set up. I have an extension, I have my 16 millimeter special spark plug socket, I have my spark plug inserted into it, I put some anti-seize compound on it. You're going to very, very, very carefully insert it into the spark plug hole without hitting the electrode, and then you're going to finger screw it in, and if it doesn't go in real easy, that means you're cross-threaded, so you'll want to reverse and start over again because it's very easy to cross-thread spark plug holes. So you're going to put this in until it's finger tight, and you'll feel when it tries to stop. And then once, okay, I got it right there. Then you're going to take your ratchet and turn it 1/2 to 2/3 of a turn. On mine, I found it goes exactly 1/2. So here we go. You can feel some resistance. That's compressing the gasket. And there's 1/2, and it exactly stops. Doesn't want to go any further. So now you just pull that out, and we're ready to move to the back spark plugs. Okay, so now for the rear plugs, the problem is this is in the way. Now, the Toyota service manual says that you can actually wheedle your way in there and take the plugs out. Of course, you'll have to disconnect all these wires that go through here. And then you can use a flex head socket to get in there and take the spark plug out. I think that's completely unrealistic. So I'm actually going to pull all of this off. I'm going to pull it off anyway because I want to change my valve covers. My valve cover gaskets. So at this point, what I'm going to do is say, why don't we cut away from this video, and you can watch my valve cover replacement gasket video to find out how to pull all this stuff off, because this is a major ordeal. We have to pull out a lot of stuff in here, and so we're going to start working on that here shortly.